this is Lady Boulay, and I hope you're having a glorious day. Thank you for your support. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your thumbs up, for your comments, and thank you for sharing the videos. Thank you for all you do to support the channel. And yes, we are commanded to love one another, whether we want to or not, or whether we agree with each other or not. And today I want to talk about a really serious subject, and that is the destruction of the Black American family. I was just doing a little background reading on this, and one thing that really struck me, everybody wants to blame everything on slavery. We will never be able to calculate the damage that slavery did and that slavery was supposed to do. But we had and have a very resilient spirit. The Black American family was not destroyed during slavery, even after selling off family members, abusing the women and the men. They did not destroy our sense of family. It is written that after slavery, the formerly enslaved people went looking for their family members. They searched for weeks, months, sometimes years, looking for their family, their parents, their siblings, their kinfolk. They did not destroy their sense of family. Black people in America always created family units. I repeat myself for emphasis. I say this as often as I can. When I was in elementary school in the 60s, in a small town in Alabama, there were about 30 of us in our class. It was a small school, and it was usually just one section of each grade. Once in a while, there might be a section, and then it might be a combination if there were more students than could fit into that one class. All of us lived in the house with our mamas and daddies, and our daddies worked to take care of their families. And this was the case all over this country. In 1968, when Dr. Martin Luther King was assassinated, look at the way those men were dressed. Sanitation workers, garbage workers, dressed up like they were going to church, but they were demonstrating against the city of Memphis because they did not want to pay them a livable wage. Black men were in the home taking care of their families. So the whole thing about slavery destroying the black family is a lie. They tried to, but it didn't destroy the black family. Now that's one of the things that we need to get straight. Slavery did not destroy the black family. And I know people are talking about 12 years after slavery, black men went to the Supreme Court to marry white women. That's probably true, but that was not the majority of black men. Most of the black men were with black women, creating families with black women. And we had large families. I'm from a large family. There are people whose family was larger than mine. And we were a family of 11, and one died in infancy. But there were kids whose parents had 15 and 19 and 17 children. And everybody had more than two. Well, just about everybody had more than two. Infant mortality was in existence, but it wasn't that big of a problem. There were large black families, and we lived in the house with our mamas and daddies. We didn't live in middle-class houses like we live in now. We lived in houses that they built. My dad and his brother built our house. So there was a lot of that. Slavery did not destroy the black family. Poverty did not destroy the black family. Terror did not destroy the black family. And black women did not destroy the black family. The black family came into the 60s as a strong, unified unit. Okay, now just think on that for a minute. I'm going to give you a minute to think on that, and then I'm going to come back. Black women were more likely to be married than white women until 1970. In 2012, the United States Census Bureau released a report that studied the history of marriage in the United States. They discovered some startling statistics when calculating marriage by race. They found that African Americans aged 35 and older were more likely to be married than white Americans from 1890 until sometime around the 1960s. Not only did they swap places during the 60s, but in 1980, the number of never married African Americans began a staggering climb from about 10% to more than 25% by 2010, while the percentage for white women remained under 10% and just over 10% for white men. So what happened to Black American marriages? Well, let's look at 1960s. Black women were more married than white women from the 1890s up until the 1960s. During the 1960s, Black people had a revolution in this country and turned this country upside down and changed America forever. The American government got very upset about what happened during the 60s because they lost control. America had given the impression that it was the land of the free and home of the brave. You could be anything you wanted to be in America. It didn't matter about your race, creed, or color. Black people showed America up for what Black people thought America to be: racist, unjust, and unfair. So the powers that be, and that's the government, decided that something has got to be done. They realized, and rightly so, that the Black family was the center of Black life. The Black family was the problem, they decided. So that began the attack on the Black family. They had to destroy the Black family because Black people were thinking in a unified way, like a tribe. So everybody was concerned about what was happening to Black people, the Black community, not what was happening to us individually. So then America started thinking about integration, because up to 1960s, America was segregated. So they started thinking about integration. We got to integrate the schools. We got to integrate this. We got to integrate that. And integration, really, many Black people feel like integration has hurt us more than it has helped us. It has helped in some ways, but there are a couple of ways that integration has hurt us. Integration is the illusion of inclusion, because wherever we went to so-called integrate, we had problems. The regular, ordinary, everyday white people did not want to integrate with Black people. So that was a problem right there. Our children were thrown off course in those so-called integrated schools. It was a nightmare and it continues to be for many Black children. We did better in school in segregation in many, many cases. Now, some people swear by integration. Oh, my life changed when I went to an integrated school. But that didn't happen for many Black students. And then the rest of society, so-called integrated. What it amounted to was that they took Black people, athletes, singers, whatever, who were at the top of their game, and put them in these professional sports in a more professional arena. And then something important happened in the 60s. The miscegenation laws that outlawed interracial marriage was overturned, and now Black people could marry white people. So interracial marriage, ever so subtly, was promoted to Black people, especially Black men. They gave them big money to play those sports or to entertain. They got a white woman, but the hidden clause of that big money and those big promotions was that you don't talk about being black, you don't talk about black problems, you don't say anything about black people. The other day I saw Michael Jordan at some kind of a game. I don't know if he was at a racing arena or where, but anyway, walking around with a white child in his arms. That's what they wanted to see. Focus on white people. Focus on white men. Focus on white women. Focus on white children. Forget about being black. Remember Mean Joe Green, the football player? That's when they were doing those, when they first started doing halftime commercials during the Super Bowl. That was before these big black halftime shows became popular. And then they put drugs in the black community. They put drugs in the black community intentionally. Watch the first movie of The Godfather, where they're talking about those mafia bosses are talking about bringing drugs into the country. And some of them pushed back against it, saying that they didn't want to bring those drugs into their neighborhoods. They didn't want their children exposed to drugs. The one that was so eager to bring the drugs in said, we're not going to give them to our children. We're going to put them up in Harlem for the niggas and the spics. So drugs did serious damage in our communities in the 60s and the 70s. I don't know when they first started putting the drugs in the black community, but whenever they put them in there, it has done damage to our family structure. Again, not to say that black women don't do drugs, they do, but primarily who's been affected by it is black men. And then they come up with the crime bill. If you breathe too loudly, you're going to jail. And then the welfare system. Now, welfare by itself did not destroy the black family, but welfare gave women options who did not want to focus on a husband, marriage, and family. But we can really be clear about this. Welfare does not give women a luxurious life. There is no welfare check in America that can compare with a working man, even if the man is just making minimum wages. And for that reason, there are black men who never walked away from their families, who never left their families, and then blamed it on welfare. So these are just some of the things that I can think of right now that have come against the black family. And most of it was intentional. And that is, I think, where we have to begin the healing, realizing that when the black family was strong and we were working together, we got things done. That became a problem for the system. And that's how come our families came under attack. And then the very same people who worked to destroy our families want to get up and tell it and shout it to the world and do all kinds of studies and all kinds of papers and surveys about the destruction of the black family, when they're the main ones that brought destruction against the families in the first place. But anyway, there are other things, and I'm sure y'all will tell me something I missed out on in the comment section, and I'll talk about it another time. No matter how much we talk about it, at the bottom line, we are the only ones that can repair our families. So we need to get busy. Okay, y'all, thank you for listening. Let me know what you think about this video. Subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up, leave a comment, share the video, and as always, have a great day.